when we first met with Irshad and Imtiaz for this movie, I asked them, like, give me one word for each song. So he said, Sadda Haq. Then he said, Kun Faya Kun. I said, wait, what?
A director who inspires you to make amazing stuff over and over again, and one who's difficult to work with.
Both are Maniratnam.
You've given us fantastic, groundbreaking music. I remember growing up as a millennial kid. We've had Roja, we've had Bombay, seriously, Taal and Dil Se and
Rockstar, Ranjana, all of the 90s.
Seriously, all of the 90s.
Even though, Langila became so sensational, Roja and Bombay and everything became sensational, I felt like the core of Hindi audience belongs to people like Subhash Ghai at the time. Everybody, Hindi person who would meet me, you should work with Subhash Ghai. So who's the Subhash Ghai? In India, we don't have an international man. We had Pandit Ravi Shankar, Anushka Shankar, Zakir Hussain, Ali Akbar Khan, all this stuff. We always find innovation coming from the West.
Yes.
And it's a great thing. We learn so much. And we are good in certain things, but not in art. And we only keep going back to, thousands of years our forefathers did. What have you done? How have you changed the world?
Hello and welcome to The Week. This is Pooja Biraia, and today we are in conversation with Mr. A.R.Rahman, the legendary musician who's ruled our hearts and minds for over 3 decades and continues to do so with each and every project of his. Welcome to The Week, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Right.
Welcome to Chennai.
Thank you. We are here at his studio space. We are going to be starting with something that he loves the most, which is technology. Working with technology, working with future technology. There is so much that you have done. There's so much you've done with music, as in with technology in your film music and otherwise. So I want to start from there. I want to first start with the Secret Mountain, also with the other project, the virtual reality immersive experience. Just next door in the studio nearby, there is this experience that one gets. You are sitting in that chair, and just how virtual reality really works, you are a part of that reality. So, sir, tell us more about it. Tell us more about your pet projects in technology. Let's start with the virtual reality. Le Musk.
So, I think after years we are getting ready to install it in various cities around the world.
Right.
I'm like a lone ranger carrying it single-handedly with my amazing group of people who supported this. And it's a story which, as I told before, happened over a casual conversation with my wife, and because she loves perfumes. And I said, why? Main thing is boredom, The film format is fantastic. It's been all over 100 years, and we're still seeing a rectangle screen. Whether it's 3D or whether it's IMAX, everything is that format.
The stationary screen format.
But the world, I think there's so much to move on into to make people immersive. And that actually made me think, like, what if we had projectors on the right, left, center? What if the ambience of the experience is more immersive? That led me to find when VR was taking off in 2015. And write a story. Like, no plans. Everything seemed to be, the door seemed to be open, like scent module coming into it, and then haptics and the chair, positron, and 4K and 60 frames and 3D and 360, all that stuff came in and joined, kind of thing. Almost like how when I did Roja, how I was worried about the sound, and then DTS came in, Dolby came in.
You said the universe made it happen.
So I think very similar on this one. So we went on with it and made it work. With great. Mental was a part of it. And so right now it's a 37-minute film. And we are, I just don't want to say much about it. In a couple of months, you'll know what's going to happen.
But is the output exactly as we expected? Or did you have to kind of, make do with what you had? Because it's not as evolved as you would have liked it to be. Is that correct?
It was not on a platter. So,
Okay.
like, for films and for music and everything, there's so many people writing, softwares and technology. In this one, it was so early, like a person who did 2D filmmaking would never understand. They would do the completely things wrong.
Yeah.
And like if you move the camera, you feel nauseatic. So I tested everything. I didn't know anything about the 2D filmmaking.
Right.
So for me, I set up my own workflow with my team.
Okay.
And we discovered our own set of cameras which could do the kind of close-ups which you wanted and mid-range and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So now we have almost like 21 set of cameras, one for each need.
Right. Yeah. But how much, like, if we consider everything, what was the most challenging part? That's something that you will never forget. It really took time.
but the result was great. So my whole team, we went to Rome. Yeah. We shot it. Yeah. Nora Arnazidar is a Hollywood actress. She was part of it. Yeah. Guy Bennett, all of them. For us, I shot it and I said, let's release it in 2 months on a streaming. There's a Steam platform, right? Yeah. I said, wait. And everything we thought would happen easily didn't happen. Yeah. So we needed to upload the thing in the cloud and we thought it'll come switched, and then it was so bad that we literally, even Whistling Woods is a part of the process. They send all their alumni, and so they helped out. Prasad helped a lot. People in Ukraine, and then there was so many America. For my team to really motivate, what I did was I said, let's release a teaser. Right. So we released a teaser in NAV. Then it had people like in queues wanting to watch it.
Yeah, of course.
And then we went to Cannes XR and we shortened. We just wanted to give a taste of it or send up the song. Yes. And 4 years back we did that, and again there were like queues of people curious, and they came out with amazing stuff. Then I think a year back we did the final. Yeah. And now we have the complete experience, even more upgraded in sound and scent and all this stuff. Yeah.
So when you move on to the next one, I mean...
No, I have so many ideas, but I felt like taking this, and still people have not. Maybe around 1,000 people have watched this in the world, but everybody wants to watch it. And there's a bottleneck because you can already see on the chair. Yeah. My main thing was like, how can I do music for something which I've not done before? Yeah. So it didn't come to me. I created myself. Yes. So...
sure. And you created it because I think I think that comes to you naturally to really venture into, unknown paths and try to, push your own self to try and new things, especially when it comes to technology. Isn't that true?
I think being in music is such a vast ocean. Yeah. That sometimes you feel like you're not even, scratch the surface of what could be done. Yeah. And because people are setting up formulas, people are setting up, and even myself, when I set up a formula, so I'll do the same thing again. I don't want to do it. Yeah. The moment I've done something, I can cash on it 10 times more. True. But I just want to move on and see what. So it's important to keep your mind passionate about what could be, what would make you get up and say, how am I going to do this? True. And just sleepless, right? Texting people, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you get there? And how do you get there? Yeah. And why can't we change? Yeah. Is the main important thing which leads us to. Right. And why can Indian people do stuff? We always find innovation coming from the West.
Yes.
And it's a great thing. We learn so much, and we are good in certain things, but not in art. And we only keep going back to thousands of years our forefathers. Yeah. What have you done? How have you changed the world? And the quest of discovering new art. Yes. Because this is not just a film about a storytelling. It's an experience. Exactly. The experience contains scent, it contains art, it contains psychology, it contains spirituality. Everything bundled in one where you feel like come out of the...
it transports you completely. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people actually, and I'm just going with what they said. Yeah. They said, can we wear this forever? I don't want to come to the real world. That kind of thing. So which is really nice. Right. So, that's the best compliment.
That's the best compliment, of course. What other kind of future technologies are you really working with?
Okay, the next one.
Yes.
It's called Secret Mountain.
Yes.
And it's a band. No, we again from India.
Yeah.
In India, we don't have an international band. We had Pandit Ravi Shankar, now we have Anushka Shankar, we have Zakir Hussain, and Ali Akbar Khan, all those amazing people out there. But we don't have a name which, after Jai Ho, I was more in the chill out mode than, let me conquer the world more now. And it's a great opportunity that time. But I think because I started my work from the age of 12, I said, now is the time to chill off. I took a year off, sabbatical. So then I felt like, when I was in LA, I felt like, why can't we form a band which is multicultural in LA? So I auditioned people from Musicians Institute and Berkeley. And then my mom fell ill. I had to come back. But those ideas which I had
remained with you.
Yeah. And then when I was looking at the progress of Unreal Engine and MetaHumans, and I said, this is it. You're not trapped in your brown skin. Now you can be any skin.
Very true.
You can be any form of thing. And so we are empowered. It's a great. We are proud of a thing, but in the world, I think to do certain things, you need to have access and you need freedom to. And I think empathy is universal, love is universal, excellence is universal. Nobody owns it. And I felt like, why can't we do a world band from India? And so then we have casted now mentors from Africa, from Ireland, from China, from America, and then India, of course, we have. So we've been talking every week to certain mentors. Like, what is the mind space of them? What do they want to tell the world? And singers from, again, Africa, Ireland, and Mongolia. So I've been having a time of my life past 2 years working.
Quite a thrill.
And the technology, I think, is every week there is going leaps and bounds. When we started, we had so many questions. How are we going to pull it off? Now we have like probably at least 10 different ways to find things. This is not AI. This is not AI. It could be AI later, but right now it's all a lot of people working on each character.
It's collaboration.
Collaborative, and on the sensibilities, on what the parameters are, how far they can go, and songs, of course. What you have loads of songs, and all of them are in English.
No, but when you say
you can watch the trailer. You've seen the
teaser. That's why. That is why I decided to start this interview with that, because I know how close it is to your heart. Because and when you say that this is not AI, there is so much more potential, right?
See, AI is the Frankenstein of all the collective stolen knowledge from used as training ground. And people from art, people from music. It kind of takes everything and puts it in a mixie, gives you stuff, which is good as a starting tool. I think for me, I use some of the AI stuff for posters, part of it, so that we don't get stuck on the conventional things. Sometimes it surprises you, sometimes it's very bad. So then we use both Photoshop and like a combination of stuff is good.
So tell us about, can you give us some examples of how you use AI in your work, or some future technology in your work, like in terms of making film music?
Film music, the biggest blessing was internet, where you could work anywhere. We can instruct a musician or a singer on Zoom, or it used to be Skype. Most of the work was done on Skype on Slumdog Millionaire. We were on 4 different, like London, New York,
time zones,
Bombay, and Chennai. And it was only possible because of that. And exchanging files and stuff like that. Now I think technology is helping us. There's a guidance, AI guidance in mastering now. And so still, I think to do a tune, it takes a heart and a mind which is philosophical. It's got a lot of love.
That can't be replaced.
Exactly. A real musician going on stage with a guitar or a piano and singing is going to be even more valuable. So you're going to appreciate that even more. Oh, this person is real. Oh, that is generated. This is not generated. So I feel like this is the time for musicians to go and perform. Time for them to innovate. Time for them to reinvent what stage music is, and the way people consume music. So invest in your thoughts, in your ideas,
Right.
and put it out there.
So many people have this question that will digitization take over to an extent that our the credibility of our instruments, instrumental music and playing instruments will just fade away. What do you
that's
think?
that's what I told you. The previous answer was the answer for this one.
Yeah, it won't.
Yeah, I think
we will value it more.
You'll value the flaws even more now. Oh, it's real. See, he's out of tune. Not to an extent where you unbearable.
Right.
Yeah.
And in India, how with the times coming in terms of technology, taking the conversation further, in our country, where are we at present at the moment? How far do we have to reach to really be able to make the full and make the most of the technology that's going to come?
I think you're talking about technology. I think invest in your talent, invest in collective creations, like musical theatre, which is non-existent here, except for NMACC, where in Bombay we have they import Sound of Music and all that stuff. I think that has to take off in India, because then you're looking at real actors, real musicians, real our culture.
So we need more cultural spaces.
I think we need space. We need spaces. We don't have that. We don't have world-class loading, and they don't. In some of the government stuff I've seen now, has a beautiful stage and audience, seats broken, of course. They don't have makeup rooms. They don't have set storage. They don't have loading. There's so many things missing because they don't have the right guidance for people to come in and tell them. And then you go there and you feel like, oh my God, it could have been so good. And I think better to take experts, guidance. We are trying to do something in Chennai with a lot of guidance from international people, from local, so that it is perfect for the younger generation to do amazing things out there.
You recreated the late musician's or a late singer's voice with the help of technology, right? Can
Shahul,
you please tell us more about it, please?
I think I was watching some people do famous singers out on Instagram. And then when the director Aishwarya, she said, "Can we have a folk voice?" And I said, "If I wish we had a folk voice like Shahul." I said, "Whoa, why not? Now we can have it." And of course, we called the family and said, "We're doing this. Is it okay?" And they said, "Yeah, it'll be a great honor." Both the families. And then we sent the money to them so that, and it's a great way to honor people.
Yes.
Rather than just ripping off and putting something and not. Something should be given to the family because there's a legacy there for fathers.
But how hard or what was it?
It's just a training, I think, because we had vocals, unmixed vocals of previous songs. So we gave it to Chetan, who specializes in this, and he trained all this, and then he gave us back.
Wonderful. So that takes me. I mean, let's go back in time now. Let's get some nostalgic, basically. You've given us fantastic, groundbreaking music. I remember growing up as a millennial kid. We've had Roja, we've had Bombay, seriously, Taal and Dil Se and
Rockstar,
Rangila and
Ranjana, all of the 90s.
Seriously, all of the 90s. I mean, it was a treat, seriously. Growing up, we were listening to your music, we were humming it, it was on loop. Even when we would study, and of course, I don't have to, So tell me, that was also path-breaking, because when you came, you in that sense, you disrupted the field that was there at that time. What did we have? We had disrupted in the sense.
Unintentionally.
Of course. You
just being me. No, I think I was in my family is in. My father was a composer. And so I was in the field from 12 to 20. So for me, boredom. I was sick of and tired of doing the same thing. I was playing for other composers. I enjoyed it. It paid for my food. Family.
And you were also doing advertisement jingles and stuff.
Jingles. So my thing was, unless I do something else, then all the stuff happening here, surrounded by certain kind of music. And I said, it's good, people are liking it, but I've had enough of it. I need to do something new. And so film music, I never thought would give me the opportunity to do that. So I had to do something private. I need to go to how Peter Gabriel is doing cool things, or And then I didn't realize that with again Mani Ratnam came and said, whatever you want to do there, do it here. I said, yeah, but it's not the same. And then it worked out. Right? So,
it did, yes.
So sometimes our own perception deceives you, and you think that actually the solution is within you, and you search for somewhere.
But you knew that wherever you go and whatever you do, you're gonna make it. Like you're gonna really rock at it. You knew your potential and you had full confidence.
It was not about rocking and getting name and all. It's just self-satisfaction. Like, oh, we can do this. We can do things which is not mundane, but out of the box. And nail it. And so I think the question is like, what else is there? And how else can we excel? Why can't Indian music be listened to everywhere? Why are we listening to their music and why are they not listening to our music? This why question keeps coming back again, and that gave me the answers. It is not because it lacks this. It is not because it lacks this. So that comes in.
Right. And every decade there was this thing to do something new. Right. I think because right. So because we were I was just like going through the music, and I was like, there is a clear. I mean, yes, every 3 years would be.
For me, every 3 years. If I don't do something new, I feel like I'm rotting.
So tell us, how did you make music and keep evolving every 3 years? Tell us the process of making music. We would like to step into the mind of the musician to know how does
any musician
Rahman make music.
I met Bahauddin Saab, Rudravina. He said, when each one has their own mental thing. He said, I played a raga and said, what other ragas do you know? I said, I have to master this for another 3 years and then I'll learn another raga. I said, wow. So that's one which is fantastic to say that one has to go so deep into certain things that distracting. In my thing is, because we can't just, when you do 5 songs in a movie, it's not about one single raga.
True.
So now you've done in Yemen, you've done Datbari, you've done Saraswati, you've done all these ragas, and then you feel like, why are movie songs always in major and minor? Why can't they be in a raga Bilaskani Thodi? Or why can't it be in South Indian Thodi? And then because I think, first of all, the people who come in, some of the directors are knowledgeable, like Balachandran sir was knowledgeable, Raji Menon, which I worked with. Mr. Mani Ratnam had a ear for everything. When he hears it, he gets it. Some of them would love what is popular, what is, and when they select the easier for the ear candy ones, then so I keep telling people who say, no, they're not letting me do anything. I said, why don't you do and keep and show them? Instead of telling them I'm going to do in Bilaskani. They say, no, don't do all that stuff. People won't listen to it. So your investment is not waiting for somebody to commission you. You commission yourself and you do things so that people know what you're capable of doing. So for me, luckily, I learned by doing movies, getting paid for it. And for me, I keep telling everyone this. It's a great way to learn where you get paid and you test out with audience what they like, what they don't like, and then you learn more. And suppose learning is like listening to something which is of masters and learning how they handle a raga.
True.
And then even if you get even 10% of that, it's a great song. So everything's out there. It's how you invest your mind in it. And how much you realize you don't know is the most important factor. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but sometimes when you know that you don't know, you can't sleep. You feel like
it just keeps playing on your mind, and you want to.
You get that. What is that syndrome? What's that syndrome? I don't know. I call it.
Wherein you want to
imposter
do it.
syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. And that reminds me. I'll just talk about that first. I was watching an interview in which Mani Ratnam ji said, your way of working is that basically it is like it doesn't have to be very structured. It's very instinctive, and you make the music, and then he will be like, okay, fine. You've made this music. I like it very much. Now I will take it and place it in the film. because earlier he used to do it differently.
My reason for that is I've worked in the film industry and I've seen composers do a certain scene a certain way.
Yeah.
So if I feel like the scene comes into my deja vu goes, oh, that's how it's been done. Muscle memory comes to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So to fool my instincts, what I do is I
to
just
cheat yourself.
I cheat myself and I do something else.
Yeah.
Which words can do then, and because I'm not, I know that this is in the movie, but I don't know where to place it. And the director always helps you. So I can place it here and see how. And we just, we wildly keep it. Sometimes magic happens. I said, wow, that's great.
That's what happened with, I think, Roja also, and with the others. And
yeah, because I did like some of the Italian composers too. Nina used to do. He never saw the movie. He would just give pieces and give it to the director, and they'll place it and film it.
Right.
So there are different ways to score. One is to see the movie and you underline how it changes. Right. Then that music becomes like wallpaper music. Right. It becomes like,
yeah. So a lot of Western influences. I think you. I mean, of course, you're trained in Western classical. There is no doubt about that.
A little
bit. But you studied Western classical. When did you start? Getting inspired from the way they make music in the West, and use it in your own compositions. Like
no,
maybe did it start after 2008, after Slumdog or something?
No. As I told you, I was playing with every composer in South.
Right.
And so the only thing which would relax me is to see what is out there other than this, right?
Yeah.
So I used to work in Bangalore. There used to be a record store where you find 5-6 records and you pick like track 5, track 6. So we used to record there. Okay. And that would be like, it would take a week and then you will collect the cassette, and then coming from Bangalore to Chennai, I would be listening to in the train.
Right.
I'd be sleeping and listen to it in my Walkman. And it's not just Western stuff alone. I loved African music. I loved kirtanas, like classical kirtanas, and Amir Khusro Rahmatullah. Like I was discovering every kind of music which was deep.
Right.
And the depth of it actually makes you feel very small, and I like that. And then you always feel like, why can't I do something like that? And that you don't do something like that, but even the process of going near it brings something.
True. If one were to analyze, for example, if we take a Taal, and then we compare it with the Rang De Basanti, there's a gap of, I think, 7 odd years. And then again, we compare it with Ranjhana, and then Atrangire, and then, of course, now Aadujeevitham and stuff. So there is like clear different markers, so what do you think about it? Your style has evolved.
No, there is one thing. The capsule, the outer covering changes, but the core thing is what melody stands in your mind. Can you strip out all the music out of it and still the tune can stand on its own?
Right.
And these are the checkpoints I do.
But with the audiences changing, their tastes changing, the aesthetic sense changing.
They the way they think music is constructed is maybe changed, but then they respond to anything which is grounded.
Right. Could you give us an example of?
So, the depth of the tune, and like for instance, there's a score I did for Robot the movie, the first one, the first part, and it was done with. The whole thing was done 2-3 weeks in London. I was fasting for Ramadan. Then I was working in a studio in a movie called Puli for S.A. Surya. Then I was working with Danny Boyle, 127 hours every evening. Then I was working for Endran. And one of my arrangers, orchestrator was sleeping in one room in my little house there. And we were working in all this. And it didn't feel like you can't do something when a film requires a huge score. Your mind automatically comes to that level and you start doing stuff. And I didn't realize the score now people are making it viral. They're putting that in Marvel movies. So we don't even realize. You just rise up to that level and you try your best and be as honest as possible what it requires. And I'm doing like 2 silent movies now. One is Gandhi Talks and another one called Oof. Completely only music and some songs in it, but no dialogues.
Wonderful. Okay. When is it? When can we
This year.
expect it? That is again something out of your
No, because I think it's a gift to for a composer. It's great to have something like that. It challenges you. And,
yeah. Right, but you keep bringing your inventions and your innovations every time. So I think
I learn from people.
I
learn because sometimes when somebody's growing up, they don't even know how good they are. Because when they go deep into it, there's no seniority or junior people. There's only excellence.
Yeah.
And even if you look at Lydia Nalasuram from the south, or Mohini Ray, who started the first gig in 2014 with us. Now she's become an internationally celebrated bass player. Everywhere they celebrate. And that's great. And then we have another young guitarist, student of Prasanna, who was in one of the shows in America.
Right.
And all this is great. And
yeah, I had a question regarding that about basically taking these youngsters under your wings and really mentoring them. What is the criteria for making it to
actually
as a mentee?
No, I'm still, I don't like knowledge which is there. Okay, this is it. This is how you should do it.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you get people who are struggling to get something done, you're also discovering different ways to reach there.
Yeah.
And there's a particular way of orchestrating, and it's very fast. There's another particular way of doing something without knowing, and it might end up in a very unusual result.
Yeah.
So I am always open to things like that. So when I have in the students pass out from my KM college, they come here. Some of them we pick up, they intern with us. Music supervision and orchestrating, playing and everything. Sometimes when they hang out, I keep asking, what do you listen to? So, you get to the mindset of a younger person.
Yeah.
What is fear is, what is strength is.
Yeah.
That's good. Otherwise, you detach yourself from the present world.
Yes.
And you're just talking, I won the Oscar a long time. Who cares?
Yeah, true. That also reminds me, on his Twitter bio, I think you never write, Oscar-winning musician.
I took it off.
You will never find that. He always updates it with his current project.
Yeah.
Most of the times that will be the case. Isn't that correct? Because somewhere you said it's better not to rest on your past laurels.
Yeah. It's sometimes you need all that. You look at, see what when people put you down, but then you just move on.
So we'll just get back to music making with comparisons, basically comparing. So I just wrote this question down. If someone were to listen to 3 different albums at one time, at the same time, which are, and in all those 3 albums, 3 particular songs. First is Kandu Koden, which is Tamil, the title track. Then there's Satya from Satya. Then there is Okay Janu, and in that Sun Bhavara. Right? So these are 3 different eras. I mean, eras in the sense 3 different time periods. Decades. Yeah, let's put it that way. And these are all love stories that were modern for their times when they were. How, what was the mindset in each? Because you gave a very different treatment to each. Obviously, because you must be like, okay, now my audience has changed. Now their tastes are changed. Now let's do something different.
No, I always find in every house, the sense of grounding is always there. When people, you adore your parents. Like my mother used to do this. She used to maybe go to the temple and she used to put turmeric or, and so if it's good, the daughter is going to learn that stuff.
Yeah.
And then my mother used to give, food to the poor, or my grandmother used to give to them. So these are the things which we adopt and we want to carry forward.
Yeah.
My mother used to shout at the servants or something. I don't want to do that.
Right.
True. This, I'm just like hypothetically saying stuff.
Yeah.
So we pick the good ones from so like that, music is also, we pick certain things which are beautiful from the past. And that's not going to change.
Yeah.
Suppose if you sing Ale Paide or you sing Dam Mast Kalandar, which is very recent though.
Yes.
Or whether you sing Chapatilak or Kaun Gali Hai Sham.
Yeah.
I feel like those are there's going to be standing the test of time.
Right.
Because there's culture rooted in it.
Right. Yeah.
And so those can't be shaken. The other ones where you see Insta reels and all this stuff, trap sound happening for like 10 seconds or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That is new stuff, which is fascinating. But then that fades away and the next new thing comes.
True. Yeah.
Certain things stand. But I always feel like, what is the common thread? What is going to stand still?
Yeah.
So let's pick that so that you cover one region of the movie finally.
Right.
Then you go to the other one.
Right.
So you have different shades.
Right. Which was your own favorite decade in the past? Your favorite decade in the last 30, 35
this
years?
Decade.
Yeah. The current one.
Yes. So fascinating. It's so much of changes.
Yeah.
And the things which we're struggling those days, there are challenges, so many challenges out there. Yeah. People have to make a choice. It's so difficult for them.
Yeah. But also as a musician, someone who's done phenomenally well in the Hindi film industry as well as of course in the South. But for you to, you learned Hindi also, right? Yes. I think somewhere Subhash Ghai ji was there, during the Taal.
He's making all of the
he was like, Punjabi teacher.
We're celebrating 25 years now.
Yes.
In another couple of weeks.
Yes. And it's such a fantastic film score for the movie.
Yeah, right.
Tell us about Taal, please. Tell us in detail about Taal and which was the most challenging song to do, and in detail, like as if you're really talking to someone who's a contemporary.
Taal, even though Langila became so sensational, Roja and Bombay and everything became sensational. I felt like the core of Hindi audience belongs to people like Subhash Ghai at the time. And everybody, Hindi person would meet me, you should work with Subhash Ghai. So who's the Subhash Ghai? So I was sleeping, those days there was no mobile phones, nothing, right?
Yeah.
There used to be one fax machine.
Yeah.
I was working with fax because of I was working with ad agencies and everything. So suddenly one fax came in with, it started, I think it was nighttime or something. It started buzzing. And then on comes out, I am Subhash Ghai, I would love to meet you. And I was reading it. I said, wow, great. Everybody wants me to work with this gentleman. And then in a couple of days I went, met him, and he was amazing, very kind. And that movie which we started working never took off. It's called Shikhar.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so Ishq Bina actually was composed for that one.
Oh,
and we still have like 4-5 songs left from that movie.
You've never used till now?
No, he's got it all.
Right. Okay,
and then he was doing Pardes.
Yeah.
Then during Pardes, I was very, very busy.
Okay.
So I said, we'll work on the next movie. And the next movie was
Taal. No, but there was so much depth in that, in those songs, in that film. I want you to tell me more about it.
First of all, Taal is just rhythms.
Yeah.
So my fear was, I don't want to just do rhythms. Okay. And I wanted melodies.
Okay.
So I worked with Bakya Saab, got a lot of lyrics. I want a lot of lyrics and put the meaning underneath what it means. So he used to patiently write the meaning underneath. And most of the songs were composed for the lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was emotional throughout because every song was emotional.
Yeah, he is a great fan of music. He adores the process and he respects the process, and he was in awe. So he, like, everybody would wait for him in Bombay that time. He came to Chennai, he would hang out here. He'd be like one among us.
Yeah.
People used to make fun of it. Oh, see, Subhash Ghai is hanging out here. And so you still share a fond.
Yeah, I remember, and I remember him saying in one of his things, I told him that you have to learn Hindi, that really make it compose.
Because coming from South, we don't like people pushing that language on us because we have such a own language. But I respect all languages.
Yes.
And for me,
but you took it like a fish to water. Like you seriously took it so well. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. If somebody loves you and if they come 10 steps, you can make at least 2 steps. You can go.
Absolutely. But that also now takes me to Chamkila. Because you have this thing, you learn about the culture, you learn the language before you really get into it. Isn't that true with Chamkila also?
Yeah.
But at one time when I was listening to Chamkila songs, I was like, no, this is not Rahman. You don't know where does Chamkila songs end and Rahman songs begin. You were so into it.
Yeah. No, I think if you look at the story is very simple story. A guy sings like vulgar songs, he gets killed.
True.
So the first meeting was like, what is in it for us? Why should we do this? Why should we put our names in it? So I had this question with Imtiaz. Both of us were thinking, okay, then why can't we make it? Anybody could become great if we want to make them like portray in musical kind of language. In musicals do that, right? If you look at Evita, everybody's singing about Evita. And I said, why don't we make Chamkila like that? Let's have a discussion in the song itself. So it was just that, because I worked in musical theatre a lot, right? As Bombay themes and everything. So that knowledge helped and said, okay, what if we do a Punjabi version of West Side Story or, stuff like that. And that's what made me, I said, let's have different characters singing about Chamkila. Naughty ones, the ones which are whining about it, the one which is dissing him, the one which is praising him. So there's a women's song, there's a men's song. We didn't do the last song though. Actually, Vidakaro should have been all of them saying goodbye to him. It made it simple.
Which one is closest to your heart? Can you pick one?
This one?
Yeah.
Vidakaro.
Very emotional.
Because I love that era of Hindi films. When you go, even Punjabi song, Hindi song had this kind of grounding. Where you can't just, every note is grounded in it.
True, Now you're back to experimenting. Now, back to experimenting. What I meant was that initially, I think in the 90s and then later in the early 2000s and all, there were these commitments and you were really to them, like film commitments, and you would work as a director once and stuff like that. But then now
Some people want like that, so it's fine. But, actually, ultimately, what people expect is a surprise, right? Surprise, but still not as a surprise, but a satisfying surprise.
Right.
So that's what.
So, are you more experimental now than you have ever been before? You're making music that makes you happy.
Exactly. Simple.
Right.
It's not about the process.
It is that is what my question was.
The process is. I told you that we can to go from A to B. There are different ways to go. We can go straight line. We can go circle. We can go zigzag. It is to reach the B.
destination.
First, we need to know what B is. That
definition. Where you want to go.
That definition keeps changing. What you think. Sometimes simple is simplistic, too simplistic. And sometimes what you think is complex is too complex. So drawing a line between, like recently what I did for Mr. Tanush. So you wanted very simple kind of thing. And it worked out. So in a way, sometimes you go with what the director wants.
But sometimes it's not easy, right? As a
musician. And sometimes they lead you wrong.
But
they lead you
astray.
They put some crazy lyrics and said, do I want to sing these lyrics on stage? No. So my measuring ground is always, will I select the song for my stage?
Okay.
At least a couple of songs from the movie should be there.
Okay, so that is your first, that is how you think, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Will anybody do a cover on this? Why should they do? And what is so special about it?
Tell us about, were there moments when there is a score, when there's a song that you like, right? And you've prepared it, it's done, everything. And then suddenly it's cut. And then it was such nice songs and now it's not there in the film.
It always happens.
Can you give us some examples where it was really heartbreaking?
I've trained my mind to have the little layer of separation so that loss is not doesn't hit me emotionally. I do it with all the emotion. And if it comes, I just say, oh, God is great. If it doesn't, I said, okay, let it be there. It's there. But otherwise, you can get, some people are very, very emotional about their work. Oh, I did the song, it didn't reach the people. I did the song, they cut it off, they changed the singer. Anything can happen.
But you have this very interesting ability and, what should I say, of really balancing and being able to work with, I think, across the board with directors, like multitude of directors from anywhere, everywhere, collaborate very well with, because sometimes it
Mostly, but it's also difficult. So sometimes it's becoming, as you get older, your diplomacy level comes down.
And tolerance level as well.
Tolerance level and diplomacy level, actually, it requires a lot of energy.
Yes.
You're just controlling anger sometimes. You don't want to snap. And, I love, when I go out, I love to take photographs.
Yeah.
So someone comes in, clicks a photo.
Yeah.
It's a selfie. You're looking at the photo because it's got a timer. 10, 9. You just want to break that phone.
Yeah.
I said, no, I love it.
Yeah.
Next time, so can I take one more? I said, no, thank you. This is the ultimate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I think it at times, of course, collaboration is one thing to do what you want and then to go by the director's version, of course, but also the process. I have heard that you want a very you don't want any disturbance. You're your own person when you're composing and when you're thinking, right? And then when somebody is just sitting next to you, and then you're like, okay, let me just focus. So tell me about the process.
You also when you have people sitting, you psychologically, that person is judging what I'm playing.
Yeah, it happens, right?
So initially, I used to have a lot of problems with jingle time because I just used to play like 3 notes. Da, 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 and then one lady will say, "Oh, that sounds like Janaganama." Da, da, da. And then you just it's not going to work. Put headphones on, work everything, and then give it.
Right.
Now I think I don't care anymore. I just do, and I judge it later.
Right.
So.
But how has the work ethic changed? How you used to, what you used, the process, the actual on the ground process. How do you do it now vis-a-vis how you used to do it sometime back?
I won't tell you all those secrets. Why should I tell you?
Okay, the amount of time you spent, or maybe in the night or the day, or
No, I'd actually
tell us some trivia. We'd like to know some trivia.
Sometimes just on the voice note.
Oh.
Voice note, and I have a lot of voice notes, and then I start in the long flights. I start editing them, and sit and then put notes on it, and then develop them sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes I sit on the keyboard or on the workstation. Right. Sometimes on the piano. Sometimes, these are the.
But usually at nights.
No.
It can happen. Oh, okay. No, I thought that you work best in the night.
Sometimes, from Dubai to LA you go, it's fully day only. You're going over the North Pole.
Yeah.
I try to match my biological time to the next day.
But must be quite, you literally are living the quite a hectic life, right? I mean, continuously on the go and all.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Is there any time when you're doing nothing? Do you have some time to yourself when you just
Yeah, the flight. You can't do anything. I don't even watch movies. I just meditate or something. Sleep.
Right.
Nothing is a great idea.
No, but what does leisure look like for you? What is leisure time for you? Because for us, it's music.
Yeah.
But for you, for a musician, what can it be?
Traveling.
Traveling, yeah. Okay. You like to travel, but where all do you?
I go to odd places. Sometimes I go take the car, drive.
You're more of a tourist or a traveler? We have this traveler,
I can't be a tourist.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about how going independent has helped you personally. Harmony, the 5-episode documentary Harmony, which you've made, which blends the soul of India as you've traveled with to identify different artists across the country. So tell us, because you've released so many songs on YouTube, on Spotify. You're doing so much more than only making film music now, more than ever. So how is going independent really helped you personally?
Well, Harmony actually was an idea where the producers of Roja, Barchan's daughter came in and she said, we want to relaunch Kavitalia in a way. I said, yeah, on, and became such a great idea. And Shruti Hariharan, the director, she came up with all the research. She's an award-winning director. Yeah. And it was very less work for me. They did all the work, ground work. And I've done something which I've never done before. So be a host for. Yeah. Love doing it. And even when I play it abroad, you didn't send this for Grammy, you didn't do this, what have you done? You should have. This is so beautiful and all that. People love it. Yeah. Other than that, I don't have time for independent that much. Okay. I could do more. But the
you
thing
want
is,
to do more?
I want to do more, but the problem is the infrastructure is slowly coming in there. Because you need marketing, you need to play a little dirty and all that stuff, and we don't know how to do all that. We need to, for instance, a film marketing is so beautiful. Like you just do a song, and then people watch it. It's instant. All the back work is done by the producer, director. And here you just have to, like Musk have to take the Lone Ranger. Like I don't have the time for that.
Now
the soundtrack is released now, Musk now.
Yeah.
You guys can check it out.
Okay, so I mean, earlier there was producers used to obviously, call the shots. But with decentralization in distribution and exhibition of music in the distribution channels like OTTs and stuff, how are the dynamics changing?
I think there is a lot of good things and bad things. There is opportunities for many budding composers, and everybody is given an opportunity. I don't know whether they exploit it or all that stuff is happening, but at least they have a exposure.
Right.
That's a good thing. Right. I see so many people emerging as singer-songwriters, producers, and composers, which is a great thing because the different voices we need, and so much of work in every state happening. But the problem is there was the kind of control they had over quality and the way people listen to music, which is not there anymore. Right. We used to listen to All Radio or FM station or DD, Chitrahat. Now you don't know where the good thing is coming. There's so many, there's millions of streams all over. And so I think that's why the movie promotion is so important. If the movie gets a hit, and then those songs actually become the curator for the music people listen to.
True.
So that's one of the reasons I stick on to movies.
Right. I also want to talk to you about these, many of these composers, many music composers are really having these battling it out to, for copyrights, basically. What is your take on that? Because you have stayed far from that and, so you've never had any issue. So how do you balance it? How do you address it?
Yeah. There's certain ethics which I think it should be followed. You can't take a song which was done in a movie and 6 years use it in another movie. People's memory is fresh just because you own it. And that I'm really against it. And then take some stuff, add some stuff, and you're saying reimagining. Did you take permission to reimagine somebody's work? You can't take,
absolutely.
Da Vinci's work and say I'm going to reimagine this stuff and make it like mainstream. It could be a post on Instagram or something, but so and even bigger evil or this thing, people getting the wrong hands on and using AI wrongly and not paying the composer. I'm going to use this composer style, but I don't have to pay him. And all the stuff has to be, it's like, belling the cat now. Like, literally, it's all monsters coming out. And if you don't, it's going to be a serious issue. Ethical, I think an ethical leader will always be ethical. Will think about all will people lose jobs, or is it right, ethical to do this? And sometimes when you do wrong, people also correct us, right? You can't do that. So I think the community is a good community. We'll make sure that we pull up people who need to be pulled up.
Right. Yeah. And AI being wrongly used, that's a very pertinent issue, I think. Is. And there is,
and that now making old actors coming, so far it's been decent. I'm sure it's going to get
now it's going to be blown. It's going to get bigger now. What do you expect? What do you think?
I don't even know. I'm just nightmares. Tsunami is waiting out there. Some of the softwares they recognize famous people and they say, no, we can't use this famous person until you have permission or something.
Permissions,
But I think there are other versions of software which says, you can do actually whatever you want. We'll let you do that.
It's scary. It's a very scary situation to be in. And especially here, I think, isn't it more because we are a diverse country.
No, all over the world. Evil people are evil people, good people are good people. In my opinion, AI should be used for things where human beings have failed, or human beings are procrastinating to bring things up, bring changes. So use it as a tool to lift humanity up. Like, justice system and, infrastructure, and education which goes straight to the point rather than confusing.
So leave art alone.
I said use this to empower underprivileged. Give them as a tool where they can come up, learn new things, and help rise the country up. And I'm actually my foundation. I'm looking for ideas like those, and where we can empower kids to use these. And
what is your wildest imagination when it comes to using AI for music? What can we create? Like something that's anything that you have an imagination of, anything that you think.
I was checking out last week, and it is doing something, but all the stuff you heard before. It's a combination of ideas of human beings, which is combining and then giving something. In that, maybe something you might get some new stuff, but right now it feels like it's a poor imitation of human beings. It's not bringing something which is extraordinary to them the table. It might get better later.
Also, I want to talk to you about. So we spoke about the films sometime back. With the latest Aadujeevitham, you actually went to Jordan on the sets and all. So was that also a way of understanding? I mean, was that a new way of trying to understand how you could compose music to get some inspiration and all?
No, I think they call the directors. Blessy is like, I know what trouble is taken. Is resilience is how passionately he stood by the movie till the last moment. It's a learning experience, a case study of a man who stands by his belief, and he made it a success. It's a great, inspiring, even more than Najib's tale. I think Blessy's tale is inspiring for me.
He's put in a lot of effort.
So he invited me. He said, I want to do a music video. So I went to Jordan because Jordan was one of my bucket list to go. So I went there and it took me to a beautiful place. We stayed there, we shot there, and then even Prithviraj had said like very kind words about the score. He said he listened to the stuff and inspired his acting. And Malayalam field has always been like, why can't you do Malayalam? Why don't you do Malayalam? This has been like coming for 3 decades. I said, why not? Now this is a beautiful film. And so it's great.
And you're doing more projects for the
Malayalam
industry.
Malayalam I've done 2 past 3-4 years. One is Aadujeevitham, the other one. But nowadays, you do even for PS. There's a Malayalam version.
So both 1 and 2. We spoke about your music. I want to speak to you about you as a person. In the last 3 decades or so that we know you, how have you changed as a person? I don't think earlier it was even easy or thinkable to get an A.R.Rahman interview. So now I think you've opened up, I think, and
Before, my mind was, why should I speak? Why should I tell let my work speak? Even now, it's the same thing. That since I've become like a part writer, for stories and I have to tell stories to people, my vocabulary or articulation of what I have to say, that's improved. And also after the Oscars, I felt like they're looking at you from India. You can't just go be silent. You need to, certain things you need to, dressing up. You have to represent India in a way where they see you, And those are the things which I looked at myself from outside and said, okay, these things have to change. You're representing India. You're representing, all that stuff. The way you dress up, the way you talk.
Ratnam ji called you style icon.
No. Credit goes to my wife. She buys all the stuff she does.
She's your stylist. So that's what I mean. So it really opened the doors, basically. Obviously, the Oscar did it for you, both personally as well as professionally, definitely. What are your, somebody says A.R.Rahman does not multitask. Is that true? Do you focus completely on one thing at a time? Or
multitask is my foundation.
Yes, exactly. So,
because I think it's a habit from childhood. Because I was doing jingles, I was doing movies, like playing for movies. And you have to train your mind. The mind is the most important thing. And because you are in such an inspiring place and some really rotten email will come. Completely piss you off. And you said, I'm going to. It's hard. You're going to stage and somebody sends you something. I said, oh my God, I have to deal with this now.
Yeah.
So like, forget it. Let's
just to focus.
Disconnect. Come back to that later. So in my family, they never come before concert.
It takes another kind of zen to achieve that.
Yeah, because you have to be, whatever happens, you have to be like smiling. Oh, nothing, everything's cool, amazing. Deep stuff might have happened.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you're very happy and then you're made to compose the most saddest tune ever. So you have to zone into that one.
Yeah. Tell us some examples of the dichotomy, please. I mean, it'll be great to know when this happened. Like some examples of when it actually happening. When you were really down, when you were low, and you're making a really.
Yes, so many places, But that's why I think you have to be in a more zen, not happy, not sad.
Yeah.
Not fully fed, not hungry.
Yeah.
Not fully sleepy and not fully awake.
Yeah.
This is the time which is great for making music, where you don't exist.
Right. Yeah.
The art exists.
Right. Any such example where you really were low, where there was a dichotomy?
Every week, every month, and you're dealing with stress. You're dealing with so much.
Right.
But you need to. For me, I think if you go very deeply spiritual and philosophical, you realize there's a life and there's death, and we're like the in between, right? The transitional period. And so you should never take anything serious. You should float and find ways of beauty, reflecting.
Yeah.
That's it. You take too seriously about everything. Yeah. Sometimes we overreact to things.
Are there any mistakes you've made that you've corrected later?
Life is full of mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes are a statement. You have to make the mistakes a statement. When I think of even music, there are many things I didn't know how to do it. So when I did it, my style became my style. Our limitations define our style, right? Yeah. Sometimes you have a mold, which could be a mistake, or it could be an identity for a person.
Give us an anecdote. Of what you must have thought that, this didn't do well, but it actually was taken very well by, by the directors or the producers or something like that.
Even I never learned arrangements.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school and nobody taught me arrangement. Arrangements comes from I love that song, how they arranged it. Okay. So I'll do it and it won't be the same. It'll be different.
Right.
And how can you can call it a mistake, or you can call it, oh, that's genius, it's different from that one. So our limitations define us also sometimes. And I feel like we should embrace that. And sometimes when you listen to back stuff, like if you take Bharat Humko, we are mixing Roja and Atmos, and I went back to those tracks. The 4 tracks sound great. Great in the sense whatever's there. The track which doesn't sound good is Bharat Humko actually, because we didn't have the mixing board to record acoustic instruments. There's no real strings. There is real strings, but it's distorted, and we felt like we could have an orchestra re-record that. The choir can be re-recorded for that song. So that I'm going to do, re-record all that stuff. And for Roger, maybe 30 years. No, sorry, 32 years.
Do you know that people have written academic papers on you? And have you read them? Do you also know that people, of course, that you might be knowing that there are spin-offs of your masterpieces across the world, especially when, for example, I've seen this Japanese group that was recreating the music that you've created, and they don't even know the language, that is the Tamil music that you've created. So do you keep a track Tamil music? I mean, because it's South Indian music, not Hindi music, Tamil music. Sorry. So do you keep a track of how you were?
I do. I just keep on.
Written about how you were celebrated.
No, I'm on to the next task. I watch sometimes because each one is so challenging, right? Yeah. Each project is so challenging.
Yeah.
And the deliverables are marked.
Yeah.
The parameters are marked.
Yeah.
So you satisfy them, at the same time see what else we can do.
Yeah. But one Google search will pull up so many research papers on A.R.Rahman. Seriously, that is phenomenal.
I don't see it. Because I'm I don't want to be defined by what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I see like knowledge is there's open knowledge, there's hidden knowledge, and you are seeking different. I don't know how to put it on.
But how does it? But how does it feel to know that you are a global icon?
I don't
That
know.
You are
Really?
Seriously. I mean,
No,
yeah. Have you internalized it? That okay?
no, I think
Yeah.
all that stuff is fine. I mean, your management takes care of all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
My thing is to, for instance,
Yeah.
you'll be laughing. Like I'm just thinking, how do we make Broadway kind of musicals in Chennai, and what does it take to get administration right for that, and what does it take to get
Wow.
what investments should I get? Stuff which I never thought,
Yeah.
which I'm forced to think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does it take to maintain the quality,
Yeah.
push it,
Yeah.
expand that one?
Yeah.
Like an entrepreneur, like a more than a musician, you're forced to think.
Yeah. Yeah. To think how
If
you
you
can
don't-
give back also.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's the reason.
yeah. How?
Because we go to a place, we go to a tree,
Yeah.
and it's there's a beautiful tree that somebody's built a bench, and somebody
Has
has
yeah,
done that,
it. Correct.
and you are that somebody now,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
So what
It's
are
not a
the
banyan
things-
tree
yeah,
now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a art
Yes.
center, or
Yes.
whether it's nurturing
Yeah.
people, because I think we're untapped diamonds here.
Yes.
People.
Yes.
You'll imagine moon, or there's nobody there.
Absolutely.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
We just see it from a distance. Here, there are people.
Right.
And
So
then-
that is how you will immortalize.
No, I'm just thinking
music.
that
I mean,
those people have to be, those diamonds have to be polished, and
Right.
the least we can do is
Yeah,
inspire them,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
set them, build
Yeah.
them, plant a tree for them,
Yeah.
And that's
Creating institutions.
institutions, or training,
Yeah.
or creating collective creative
Right,
things.
right.
And
So that
which
music
the
remains.
void of
yeah.
India in that is
Yeah. Yes.
there's no
absolutely.
roads.
Yeah.
I think anyone who puts roads are to be blessed,
True.
because we only see movies,
Right.
and even
Basically,
our dance art forms are the same.
Yeah.
Nobody's taken it to the next level.
Next level. Right.
So-
Right. Yeah.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
crying for change.
Yeah. Yeah. To
You know,
create growth.
world
basically.
class.
Yeah.
Where the people can perform. I said
True.
to beat AI.
True.
The real truth is people there performing,
Yeah.
singing,
Yeah.
acting,
Yeah. Yeah.
and creating people where people take flights from Singapore and America to come and watch.
Right.
We're going to Broadway watching all this stuff. So
That's-
that's
yeah.
one of the dreams. I don't know how far it's from. It's happening in small.
Right. Yeah. That takes me to how you have been nurtured as a child. How you you've taken many aspects from your father and from your mother. Can you tell us how you are a blend of the two? How was it growing up, and how are some of these aspects that remain with you that have made you who you are today from your parents? Basically.
For my father, the memory when he died is intolerably dark. That's why I never speak about my father. But the early days of when he used to take me to the studios, and post after his death, like how they were praising him, like there's a clip of Mr. Ilayaraja. They both learned under the same Dhanraj master.
Okay.
And so he was like a very generous. Mr. L. Subramaniam quoted that,
Right.
when I was a student, your dad said, come and sit there, just get some money for your education. Why do you just sit at home? Come and sit there and play something and go, get money and go. So it was nice to hear all this. Even
Yes,
now,
yes.
that is one thing I learned
Yes.
from him.
Yes.
The
Kindness.
and generosity and
Yeah.
encouraging kind of
Yes.
a thing.
Yes.
But this end was not good. He literally looked like Gollum. His face was like a skull, and he had a stomach which is protruding, and the leg was like a skeleton again. This is the form he died. And so that image is so dark for me. That's why I never speak about that. But I think the blessing of his toil of his
And music from him.
with my sisters, me and G.V. Prakash,
Yeah.
or my son, my
Yeah.
daughter,
Yeah.
is incredibly grateful. And of course, my mother,
Yes.
who is a very, very, very strong character, right? Today, if people fail, they commit suicide. But she was having all four of us
Yeah.
resiliently.
She pushed you towards music to take up music.
That's just a simple
right?
thing. The rest of is not committing suicide with the humiliation she faced.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, for that she needed a peace garden.
Yeah.
For people to understand that women can be resilient and they can come back in a very spiritual form. So yeah, that is it. My time.
Do you pray before setting out on a new project? How do you start a new project? Like, is there a...
I think prayer is very, very essential, like, because we realize how small we are unless we become one with the divine. And without that help, I feel like worthless. That worthlessness keeps coming constantly, like you say. And the only way to feel worthy is to recognize the infinite, recognize the, and it does become a habit after a while, whether you're eating, you're walking, you're opening a door, and that becomes a habit, good habit, where also it drives all the negative emotions off. Like complexes or mental illness or anything goes off because you have a purpose to be one.
Any 2 or 3 new artists whose work you really admire and appreciate, and why?
The many, actually. If I go on the internet, you might see all the people I've liked or following. They are people I like, whether not only from India. And
any particular music that you're following right now?
You can just go to what I'm following. You can check all.
No, that you sing on loop, which is not yours.
Actually, I like anything. I saw something. Orpheus in Leeds. There's a Sikh gentleman who's composed beautifully along with Verdi, and I think it's one of the most beautiful songs I've heard on stage. And the Sri Lankan artist was singing that. If you put Orpheus Leeds, I think it will come back.
But otherwise, what do you keep listening to, which is not your music, or you?
We don't listen to. A cook doesn't go and eat again, right? There's something else.
Okay. A song which you think you would want to change, which you did not like much. Any of your own song which you didn't like much. Film song.
No, the mix, the orchestration I told you, Bharatamko. Which I'm going to do now. Because when I heard it, I said this could be even more better.
No, something but which is already there. Like
this is already there.
I mean, from the
But the lyrics and the song is very nice. But then I felt like when we re-release Ratnam, we're gonna give you a better version of it.
A right song released at the wrong time.
The 99 songs.
No?
Right song.
Why do you think so? We had
lockdowns. And at that point, I had just wanted to get on with my life. There was 3-4 years with the thing. And everybody was like, when is it releasing? When is it like? It became like after a while, it became like a torment, right? So you just want to have done this. I think with all my conscience, I want to move on. So then I finished that and went to. And mom had also passed away, so then we went to Dubai and set up the expo and the orchestra and all this stuff. So in a way, I think when you see it back, you feel like there's a lot of good things in it, but it released at the wrong time, and inevitably suffered.
Who's your biggest critic?
Me.
Are you?
I have to. And I also watch.
In order to churn the best output of it.
Because I don't listen to immediately. I listen to after a week. When I listen after a week, I say, "Oh, that's not good. That is not happening." That's when you improve. Things become better.
Right.
And then I also see how people react to it.
But most of the time, I'm sure that must be happening. If after a week, if you listen, I think, or 90% of the time, you would be like, you would change the. Does that happen?
Not everything.
No.
Some of the stuff sounds. If it's good, it's really good. Sometimes, when you're creating something unusual, it needs more time because you have to go back and see. And for me, luckily, I have the director also. So sometimes they guide us. Say, no, it can be better, or no, don't change it. It's beautiful already. Not overwork them.
Is there some place where you curate all your wild ideas? Like where you just keep it in a corner or this thing.
This phone only.
You have a folder, separate folder.
I won't tell you where it is.
Of course, but you do.
Yeah.
Okay. How strong is the pressure to not repeat yourself? I think at the stage that you are.
Yeah, because I do less movies. I mean, I do less in the sense I'm doing more, but according to how music directors used to work those days, each composer used to make 40 movies a year, like a factory.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is, it takes away the essence of life. You become so monotonous and you do repeat again constantly, and then you use formulas. And I feel like the joy of making the process goes away when you do too much.
Yeah.
So right now, I think I've done a lot of movies, so I'm going to relax a bit, do the main big ones. And, and do the other stuff like Secret Mountain.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's all. Okay. Firdaus sessions. How is it? Can you tell us more about it? Like, how is
Firdaus
it going?
has been an idea for just the expo for 1 year. We had to curate an orchestra, and I also suggested making a studio. Made a studio, and they expanded that to 2 years, another 2 years. So right now my contract is over, and I'm out of Firdaus.
Okay.
But I wish them well, and they're an amazing piece of band.
Right. A director who inspires you to make amazing stuff over and over again, and one who's difficult to work with.
Both are Maniratnam. No, he's not difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Difficult to work with. It's like I think the more trust you give someone, the more you torture yourself. Like I like people when people say, I want this. Okay, it's very clear. Boom, it's done in 2 days.
Yeah.
When somebody says, give me something, and it's a Maniratnam, and then you torture yourself. He's heard everything. How can I give him something inspiring?
Yeah.
So then you torture yourself more, and he's just quiet, enjoying the torture. I never said you torture yourself.
Now you're working together on the Thug Life.
Yeah.
So how are you trying to make it different this time? Can you tell us about some behind the scene anecdotes which we don't know, in the making?
There's also Mr. Kamalasan now in the.
I know, yes. I think they are collaborating for 37 years.
Yes, so it's so exciting to be in that team because they're two geniuses sitting there. And
Which Western music influences you a lot when which you were inspired to make, which you were inspired by? Any particular?
I like the classical, or different eras like Romantica, and because there's no end to the depth of what people have done in piano writing or orchestral or choir or stuff like that. Even though like some of them they've taken years to do that stuff, but that defines the expansive quality of musical writing.
Right.
And so it's always good to go in, even though people say, oh, you don't have to work that much.
Yeah.
People listen to 10 seconds. Because you're not doing just for people, you're doing for your own satisfaction.
So this interview is incomplete without Sufi. I will ask you here about Sufism, about Kun Faya Kun. My God, it is my favorite, all-time favorite. A must listen for everyone. I remember Ranbir Kapoor was zoned out during the shoot of the film, and I think that clip went viral. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you, when you were composing Kun Faya Kun, were you also in a similar state of mind? Did it really?
Actually, when we first met with Irshad and Imtiaz for this movie, I asked them, like, give me one word for each song. So he said Sadda Haq. Then he said Kun Faya Kun. I said, wait, what? No, I said, but this is like the essence of the whole holy book. And let's not get messed with it. And why? Then, no, we want to use it very respectfully. So I knew that they're going to do it. So it was there for like 3-4 months, and I think it was in Mumbai studio. Jawad Ali was there. Madhushree was there. And we were sitting in the office room. We were sitting on the table ground with the carpet.
Yeah.
And we were just recording. I was singing stuff and asked them to repeat.
Yeah.
And then they would repeat and I'll repeat. So it went, and suddenly this song came in.
Okay.
And this song went for, it started with a different tune of Kun Faya Kun. Then it went to this. And then we found, I thought of using Bhairavi as a rag.
Okay.
Then they say in Tamil called Sudhi Bedam. So you move it another key.
Okay.
And Bhairavi can land back to Bhairavi.
Okay.
Sindhu Bhairavi.
Okay.
As a raga.
Okay.
So that happened, and then suddenly something.
Meaning you use both. That's what you're saying.
No, yeah. In a way, it is meant Sindhu Bhairavi, but it doesn't sound like Sindhu Bhairavi, right? And so we were just zoning out, going on, and then suddenly felt very good.
Yeah.
A week later, I listened to it. I said, chopped, make Kun Faya Kun.
It was like, it's...
Yeah.
It is an experience to listen
Sometimes
to.
you'll be having singers like him,
Yeah.
Javed Ali or Manushree sitting there.
Yeah.
And it was inspiring because when you sit with musicians, you also
Yeah.
rise up and say, oh, let's give something interesting for him to sing.
Yeah. But do you consider who's going to sing your song and who's, do you have that also consideration in your mind when you're composing?
Sometimes.
Yeah. It helps.
So with Akaro, we wanted Arijit to sing.
Right.
And
with that in mind, it helps you to compose it better.
No,
not
like
better,
that.
But
not like that. Like for them to really internalize and give the kind of quality which is timeless.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good to use the best of what is there out now.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah. But with spiritual music, there was Inkunkar, there was
Manmohana.
Yes, Manmohana. There is in Jodha Akbar. Then in Sapne, very, very long back, you made a hymn on Yeshu.
Yeah.
Right? So your spiritual music is a genre in itself, and it is it is an experience in itself to listen to your spiritual
I just
music.
want to be
What
honest.
drives it?
No, I just want to be the honesty of, because you're respecting whichever religion it is. People have they've surrendered themselves to a higher power. Whatever the way of worship is different.
Yeah.
But they surrendered, and I love to respect that how they surrendered themselves.
Right.
And if I mock, there are people mocking every kind of worship.
Yeah.
That's on me. we don't mock. We just respect the way they close their eyes, and there's kind of innocence in everything. In all the worships should be respected, and through that respect comes in the music also. In music, you bring in what will bring that respect they have, what will bring the piety, which would reflect for them to enjoy, right? It's not like a tikma, okay, I've done a bhajan, I've done a gospel thing. It is to find the essence of the belief into that one.
So you kind of immerse yourself into it, and you go through the spiritual.
Actually, if you cross all
through the experience, that's
like
what
Rumi
I'm
says,
asking.
you cross all the good things, bad things, and you go to a plane.
Yeah.
That plane is unifying all of us. That's humanity.